I wonder how this is going to change in the future.
What, like doing podcast?
Yeah, because they should have like some sort of Britney Spears thing that you put on.
Like she had the headset, right?
Yeah.
They probably like
with like the microphone that comes out, or like the Xbox microphone.
You know Andrew Schultz, the comedian?
Yeah.
So like he spent a lot of money on his studio, but like he has mics now that are like, I'm not exactly sure where they are, but it's kind of like a TV show now, like an actual late night show where like you don't have any mics and like you can, I think they're up on the ceiling or something like.
Oh yeah, they have like a plugged in boom mic.
Yeah,
thing.
the boom mics.
Yeah.
That's the future of podcasting. Fucking, we have to talk about the Jeffrey Epstein shit again. Like,
really? I don't know. I feel like we. Well, like what? What do you want to talk about it?
Got on. Well, we haven't ever talked about Epstein on the podcast. Like, we've mentioned it before, but like,
yeah.
Just quick, brief overview of Epstein. Probably,
in case you guys don't know who that is.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard about Jeffrey Epstein, he was a very upstanding citizen that was part of the scientific and all the academic communities.
Nate's a huge fan.
Dude, I personally am a giant Epstein fan as well as a Kanye fan. I don't really care that much about his music all that much, but like,
do you think that Kanye like flew to the island?
Dude,
at some point? I feel like that.
That's why he's not on the flight logs. Because he has his own private jet.
What would his opinion of that? Like, if he got asked to like go to the
well, it's different versions of Kanye. Like, are we talking Christian Kanye when he dropped like the Jesus is King? Are we talking like now Kanye? Are we talking like
right, yeah, I suppose there's like too much there's just he's like a Looney Tunes character.
He's like we get different seasons of Kanye. Like, he's a TV show almost. Like, they're gonna make a documentary about him, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, this is like a badass producer back in like the 2000s, and then like everyone's like, you can't fucking rap, dude. He's like, I am gonna rap, and then he was like, I'm gonna be cool too and wear pink polos, and people were like, what? They're like, that's pretty fucking weird. I don't think you're gonna rock that. Then he made pink polos cool, and then he like started dressing like a homeless person, and he's like, this is cool now, and everyone's like, that's sick. That's
strange when like someone is so crazy that they have no, I mean, that's like, I have never really enjoyed his music that much, but I respect how crazy he is. I don't even know if it's a respect thing. It's just more of a spectacle. It's not respect. It's a spectacle. I'm enjoying the spectacle
of Kanye.
But I don't enjoy the fact that people are pedestalizing someone who's clearly completely mentally ill.
Yeah. He's bipolar as fuck.
Yeah, and that is like a good thing for creative people. But it's like not a good thing if you have a huge following.
I was gonna say it's not a good thing in like any other case. I gotta move this so it's not in your face.
Okay.
Fucking like all the people that are bringing him on podcasts now, it almost feels messed up because it's like, dude, especially people that are claiming to be his friend, and it's like, come on, man, like, he's gonna go on there and like ruin his career and say something insane now. Like, just don't put him on.
Yeah, but he won't ruin his career because I think people have enough faith now that he can turn shit around from saying just absolutely insane stuff that they're like, oh yeah, well, whatever he says, I'm gonna get views, and it's gonna blow me up. It's gonna propel his career every time that he says something that's just ridiculous. So
it's like now YouTube is like a views place. Like, it seemed like back when it was TV, you had to be interesting enough to get people like consistently watching you to get like attention. Mm-hmm. But now it's not even like you have to be interesting enough. You just have to be like, I guess interesting is the word, but like fucking crazy.
There's plenty of people on YouTube that aren't interesting.
Yeah. Like, you can just be crazy, and like if you say something crazy enough, you're gonna get people watching.
That's not true. So one of my favorite channels on YouTube, it's not even a channel. It's like a video of this guy he is insane. He's an insane person. And
like an actual schizophrenic?
I think so. But he,
wait, is it Martin Cabello?
Creepy, dude. No. It's, what the fuck is his name? Lucas Warner. But there's like this one video where he's laying on the floor. He looks like he's naked. And he's like he's doing a rap, but it's psychotic. It's like almost nonsense and super creepy. And It's a horrible, but it makes me laugh so hard.
It probably
dude.
has like 8,000 views, and you're like 6,000 of them.
Oh yeah, yeah. Seriously. Well, I really appreciate just using the internet to see all the different kinds of people.
Yeah, you get to see all walks of life.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you were walking down the streets of Reno, you get to see, like, Reno people. But now, you can go on the internet and watch some insane dude that lives in Nebraska talk about why he thinks that, like, bats are drones or something.
Yeah, which is nice, which is why I actually appreciate this place, because it's you know, you can have the same experience just walking downtown, starting a conversation with someone.
Dude, the homeless people here are nuts. Have you ever, like, had a conversation with any of them?
But it was last night. You remember when I was trying to get into your car last night, and there was a guy that was like, I got into your car so fucking fast because he was right by the door. I almost wanted to tell you to like pull up, but I just didn't want it to seem like insulting to him because I don't know like how with it he was.
Yeah.
But I just like got into the car really quick. But yeah, he was like he was struggling with something. So
it's like kind of sucks because like most homeless people have like mental illnesses that are like plaguing them, but then it's like you meet the occasional one that's like just a stoner dude that was like, yeah, man, I didn't really want to work. And it's like, well, I guess you're honest. Here's fucking $5.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm more prone to give someone like a homeless dude money if they're being honest than if they're like lying. Because like there's so many people, like apparently every homeless dude now is like a disabled veteran. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, I know that there are a lot of like veterans that are homeless people, but it's like every one of you guys, and like the only thing that you have to prove it is like a fucking army hat. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, like they're not gonna go to like the VA and ask for like a specific cardboard sign to like show people, you know, like that.
I was gonna say the VA.
They have to just print signs. That they should do that. Like that would be a thing that would
VA approved.
Well, then you could get your thing stolen.
Oh yeah, some fucking homeless dude just stabs you and takes your sign.
Yeah, I'm sure that stuff happens all the time too. There was a man. This is so fucked up. Can't believe we're like, getting on this topic. My mom was saying that she was living in Minneapolis. She saw that there's all these homeless people that would be on the corner, and there was guys in a wheelchair, and they would like have the sign, and people would give them money, but they were being pimped out by other homeless people who are forcing them to stay on the corner and like to take money. It's like so many levels of just evil. There's just it's so evil, but it's out of desperation. There's just this desperation that's there, and so the morality just gets totally thrown out the window.
Dude, like power structures kind of come into like any form of life. Like there's the
absolutely.
alpha homeless people.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's why in like in Africa, you have like certain warlords that'll take over a certain area. Because it's like, yeah, they might all be down bad in like the Congo. Like that's a scary fucking place. It's like almost as big as America of just like insane jungly rainforest with like lions, fucking gorillas and shit. And like one dude is just like, well, I guess I'm in charge. Like no one else is in charge. I'm going to take the lead.
Yeah. And I would imagine that a lot of it is like just boils down to wanting to take the lead before you're attacked.
Yeah, because you're like,
it's like
if I don't take the lead, someone's going to take the lead,
and it'll be bad for me.
It's most likely going to end up bad for me.
Yeah, and it's so weird, dude. I don't know how people. Yeah, and when they're like in terms of this, like the desperation, like the power structure thing, I feel like it's very dependent. Like having a good, reasonable relationship with people is very dependent upon how stable economically everything is.
Yeah, like it's the something about scarcity. Like whenever you have scarcity, like people are very panicky. Like Joe Rogan talks about it with comedy all the time. Like how back whenever everyone is like, oh well, I need to get the show. I need to get like the main, like I need to be the big comedian. Yeah. Like people would be trashing each other and they'd hate each other and like they'd be yawning during people's sets and everything.
That still happens. It's still like it's just awful.
It's the idea of scarcity because everyone thinks like there can only be one Reno comic that gets famous, but it's like there's none. It's like we're all psychopaths.
None will be. Yeah.
I mean, if one of us is going to get famous, it's definitely going to be for like some insane shit, like being a serial killer before being a comedian. But logically,
like blowing up the Mustang Ranch.
Oh my god, dude! I didn't know the Mustang Ranch was like world renowned famous. like not world renowned, like American now.
Yeah, this is some guy in Russia talking about Mustang Ranch.
Mustang Ranch,
we have to get over there. We have to do it. We have to go to the Mustang Ranch.
They talked about that shit. They had the guy that ran. I don't know if he still runs it, but they had the guy that used to run it on Opie and Anthony, and he was trying to convince this intern David that was Jewish as fuck. He was trying to convince him to come out here. He was like, "Yeah, come out to the Mustang Ranch. We'll have a good time."
That doesn't surprise me that those guys like prostitutes.
Dude, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, don't they talk about like doing like having prostitutes a lot?
They have like Opie and Anthony or Jewish people.
Both. Yeah, both.
Nah, Jewish people are way too cheap to fucking buy prostitutes.
That's true.
Fucking
yeah, that's true.
And Opie and Anthony are too rich because they like once you get to a certain level of rich.
Oh, right, because you probably just have
you have girls that'll fuck you.
Well, I feel like I don't know, dude. I would be like very skeptical of like if I had a lot of money and women were just like oh, I was like throwing themselves at me because I had money. Like I would be so skeptical. Like
you wouldn't want to fuck someone because they wanted to fuck you because of your money.
Fuck no, dude. Because they could be doing that to get my money and then like making some shit up or like what, like I have no idea. Cause that shit, I mean, that stuff happens to like, cause people are like,
they want money.
People are so, schemy. I just don't trust. If I was in, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like I'd have like a waiver or something. Like if we're going to hang out,
NDA?
like, yeah. So no, not an NDA, just like some kind of waiver where it's like, you do not get to like, take my
you do not
money.
Get to fuck my life over.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, but that would be like something that they could break because like with
I don't think so. I feel like rock stars like before they make chicks like sign the thing on the tour bus before they like.
But those are the NDAs and like the only backfire for that is like you like I've heard girls talk about it on No Jumper like. You can break those so easily because, like,
oh, crazy.
They can't, if you're not rich, they're not going to be able to come after you for anything because it's like, I'm paying you to sign this NDA. So, like, if you break it, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get that money. But most of the time, the girls spend it. So it's like, what is Kanye going to go and, like, confiscate the fucking shoes that she bought with it?
Yeah.
And it's like, they don't care that much. So it's like, they can break the contract if they want to. Unless they have money, then they have a vested interest in actually not getting it taken.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, that's like stuff I just
contract law. I'm not into it either. That's just shit I heard on a podcast that could 100% be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, what podcast? I mean, I'd assume unless it's a law podcast, no, fucking idiots like talking about law stuff.
Yeah, No Jumper is like. Now it's literally gang members from LA and Adam 22, who was this BMX dude that smoked a lot of weed and is married to a porn star.
That's like such a timestamp. Like, yo, yeah, you listen to No Jumper? It's like this podcast, like BMXer, he's like smokes weed and has a porn star girlfriend and he interviews the gang members. Like,
dude, that's his thing. He has a thing called Plug Talk because his girlfriend is Lena the Plug. And so what
does that mean?
So the podcast is called Plug Talk. His girlfriend is Linda the Plug. And like, so it's kind of hers, but he's on it too. And so what they do is they bring on like porn stars and then they have a little podcast and then Adam fucks both of them. Like for
at the end of the podcast?
Yeah. Like, so like they have like the normal version on YouTube and then they have the Patreon where it's like,
he's like, I got an idea for a podcast.
Dude, no, because Linda brought it up and I was like, dude, if I had a porn star girlfriend, and like also she's not like a porn star that like goes out and fucks dudes, she only does lesbian porn and porn with him, and so it's like that's even more better. That's even better, and like she's the one that was like, yeah, let's start bringing on my friends and like fucking them, and he's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll do it. And it's like, what a fucking dumb.
I'm sure that was his idea. I'm sure like the whole thing was his idea.
He was like, he implanted it in her mind.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's not something that you just like that just comes to you.
He probably did it super slow too. He's like, oh, Lena, like we should get you a podcast. And then like that's one day, and then he's like, well, what would you do if you had a podcast? Like,
yeah, she's like, oh, I think I talk about like soccer or something. He's like, no, you talk about having sex.
Yeah, because like that's your life. You don't want to talk about sex.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about soccer. Like
people would be interested in that.
Yeah, people would be interested in like a sex from a woman's perspective.
Yeah. And he's like, also, like, really? She's like, yeah, it's awesome. He's like, well, I mean, at the end of it, you could
demonstrate how that.
Like, you could talk about the porn and then you could do some porn. And she's like, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that would be all right. Yeah,
like,
and it's all your idea that she came up with this.
He's like, I love you. He's like, I love you so much, babe. I want to be on the podcast with you.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be there to support you.
Then she's like, we should do plug talk where we bring on my porn star friends and you fuck us both. And he's like,
I think that's an excellent idea.
That's the best idea you've ever had, Lena. Dude, just fucking floating shit out. I wish I was that good at like mentally manipulating people. Just like floating shit out slowly.
Yeah, you just go for it right away.
Yeah, I just immediately walk up to a girl. You want to let me fuck you?
Porn podcast and have sex with me?
Dude, it's like I'm at a bar and I'm like, I bring out like a one of those time watches. I'm like, you want to fuck me behind the dumpster right out back? And the girl's just like, get that out of my face.
Yeah, it's not even a good pocket watch. Like, you got that out of a garbage.
Dude, and she's like broken. She's like, that doesn't even work. And I'm like, how did you notice
You're
that?
dressed like a magician. Like, you have the top hat. You're like, no, I'm not going to fuck you outside the door. All right.
Fine.
Yeah,
then
go to the girl like right next to her.
I was gonna say, her friend.
You want to have sex with me?
Her friend's sitting there watching the entire thing, and then she's like, get away from me. I'm like, okay. Literally, the next bar is still over. Yeah. You want to? And the girl's like, I just saw that happen. I'm like, but is it working?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, it is actually. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking one thing I'm very upset I haven't seen at the open mic scene yet is like magicians. I want to see people doing magic.
When I first moved here, there was not a magician comedian, but one thing that happened was that there's this place called Third Street Bar or something. There's a big stage, and all the bar stools right next to it. And I'm watching this comic up, and he's not. I don't remember who it was, but he wasn't good enough to like. He didn't understand like how to call out stuff that's like happening in the crowd. He was still too uncomfortable to do that, and so he's going on with his bit and fully committing to it, and it's bombing. And there was a guy who was in like an electric motorized wheelchair who went right up to the front of the stage, and he had like long hair. He looked like a Filcher from Harry Potter, and he had like long hair, and he's like, he takes out a cigarette, and he takes out a cigarette and he puts it in his mouth, and then he takes this big piece of paper. This guy's just bombing. He takes a piece of paper, and no one's watching this guy. Everyone's just watching the comic, and I'm just like, what the hell is about to happen? And then he got this piece of paper, and then he lights it on fire, and it's like, like 2 foot burning paper, and then he puts it up to his cigarette and lights the cigarette with it, and he's shaking the whole time, and it's like the fire's like burning down, so it's gonna hit his hand, and he's like, and then he's like, and it's like not going out. Like, holy fuck, this guy
wasn't saying anything.
No one was saying anything, and the comic was like, yeah, so dogs are weird. And this guy's like trying to get the fire out, and he gets it out like at the very last minute, and almost just lights himself on fire. But I like to think that if he would have like dropped it on himself, he just would have lit it on fire. And the comic's like, and my that was weird that happened in college.
Dude, that's literally the point that I'm at right now, where I'm so bad at like any sort of crowd work, like, or even acknowledging anything. Cause like I sit in here and I practice my bits, which is like probably not the best way to go about it. Cause I'm remembering them like word for word, but like,
go ahead.
So like the other day I was at, library, like last 2 weeks ago. And like, I just had like a really good set at Art Society. And I was like, all right, fuck yeah. I'm going to go kill it at fucking library.
Hell yeah, dude. We all kill it at library.
Everyone kills it.
Yeah,
yeah, the library. Dude, the library's the best. Dude, so I'm up on stage, and like, I was one of the late people there, and people had kind of already like started leaving, like the comics, and it was a little bit dead. And randomly, as I like start my set, this homeless like black lady comes in like in a jacket, and she's like, guys, I need you to all shut up right now. There's children sleeping above you right now. And like, I wasn't fully listening to what she said, but like Mom and everybody else was like listening to her. And she's like, you need to stop right now. I am the law. And like,
oh man, so you just got something handed to you on a gold silver platter.
I had it handed to me on a silver platter, and it was like feeding me. And I was just like,
just didn't know what to do.
I said, I have nothing to say that's going to be as interesting as what we just watched.
Yeah.
And I put the mic in the stand and got off stage.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, damn, dude, that could have went way better.
yeah, well, I think I wonder how.
I have to get more comfortable on stage is my issue.
Yeah, that's the thing. And also, like, not having such a high standard. Like, you kind of got to, like, stop giving a shit about it being good. Because
It's an open mic. It's
an open mic.
practice.
And it's just an exercise in how much you can have fun by yourself without anyone else being involved. Because, like, the more fun that you can have with just your own imagination doing it, like, the easier it's going to be for you to just come up with stuff. So, like, when something happens like that, you're not relying on just everything outside of yourself for it to be fun. Because, like, if you're writing a really detailed bit, you're like, oh, I hope this goes good. I hope this goes good. And then, so it's all external. Like, you're not internally having fun. You're waiting for the fun to come externally and have it be validated have it be validated by other people. Whereas, like, if you just go up with the intent of just experimenting and having fun and, like, be willing, like, if it doesn't go well, like, that's fucking fine. Like, what, and that comes with experience too. Cause, like, the more that you do it, the more it's like, you're going to realize that when shit goes bad, you just always get another chance. So it's just like, dude, like, whatever, dude.
Me and Mo were talking for like 3 hours after we did the last podcast. And it's like a mental parasite I have where, like, I have this thing where, like, I just think that everybody is, like, watching and judging me. Like, I'll literally be walking down the hallway at work, and, like, if I know that there's somebody, like, I work at a Gigafactory, so it's a huge building, and, like, there could be somebody, like,
everyone's just not looking at you at all.
At all. And that's everywhere. And there'll be someone, like, 40 feet behind me, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, I know they're looking at how
all cool.
Dude, no, that's literally it. I'm like, they're watching how I'm walking right now. And then, like, you know how sometimes you start breathing on manual, and you're like, fuck, or blinking on manual. And, like,
oh, yeah.
And so I'll start walking on manual, and I'm like, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm really walking fucking weird. And so, like, I just I judge myself super harshly.
Huh. Okay, so maybe when you're out doing mics, those are all rules that you're describing. So there are rules, there are, like, unconscious rules that you follow. So, like, if you're in some sort of situation where you think people might be watching you, you feel like you have to produce a certain outcome, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's something really significant to breaking your own rules in creativity. So if you can identify, like, what your own rules are regarding what you're expecting in doing open mics or anything like that, and just breaking your own rules, like breaking that pattern consciously, I feel like a lot of good would come from that.
That's what I want to do is, like, because I'll even before my sets be practicing, like, my set in my head and, like, reading it out. And, like, the best set I've ever had in my life, like, I was sitting there talking to, like, Luke Demas and Sierra and Wes, and, like, just shooting the shit. And then, like, Mo called my name, and not planning it at all, just went up and, like, fucking killed with the jokes I had.
Yeah, you're loose.
And I was like, holy fuck, like, that went so well. And also, I talked about it fucking last week on the podcast. I forgot to click record on my camera. Oh. And, like, after I did the first joke, like, Mo was like, it was fucking, like, Mother Goose Night or something where we were supposed to tell a story. And, like, Mo was like, if Nate was a fictional character, he'd be the orangutan from, I forgot what it was. And I was like, fuck you, Mo. If you're a fictional character, you'd be the gorilla from Tarzan. And, like, that got a huge laugh. And then I was like, I just realized that my camera's not going. And people laughed. And I was like, no, that's not a joke. I just realized I forgot to start my camera. Yeah. And, like, it still kept on going well. But it was like, whenever I wasn't stressing myself out about, like, all the possible outcomes or, like, how the jokes were going to go, it went well. But it's so hard to, like, be comfortable doing that.
Well, there's a few things you can do. One is, like, getting yourself, before you go up on stage, getting yourself into a mode where you're just in a total, like, mischief mode beforehand, like talking to your friends or like that. But if you can't do that, that's, like, where meditation is really helpful.
We were talking about that last night, the meditation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just allows you to be just so ready for whatever. Because if you're in a social situation, there's chemistry that's about to happen, and there's two sides. There's you, and then there's the crowd. But if you in order to, like, assess their energy appropriately, you kind of need to be, like, at a really stable level, because otherwise you're bringing your horseshit into it, and that can be good. That can be a good thing. But when it's the case where you kind of, like, freeze up when you think that people are judging you, it's better to be, like, very calm, because you're not, because it's the fear mindset that will, because it's the fear thing.
it's like the discomfort. Like people can tell that I'm uncomfortable on stage because like whenever I'm saying my shit, like I used to write like I say used to, like 2 weeks ago I was writing like long bits. Yeah, I'm a different man.
Yeah.
But like I would write bits that were like 2-3 minutes, and like those were just like the issue was there wasn't enough funny in there. Like it'd be a story and it'd be what I thought was a good story, but I was like, all right, well, I need to make sure the details are there so the story makes sense instead of like worrying about what's funny. And so like I would be like legitimately worried that I'd go up there and like forget a part of a story where like it's a pertinent piece of information and then everyone's just confused for the rest of it. So I would be so stiff, like worried about like, oh fuck, like literally seeing the lines like that are in front of me, like the lines of my comedy. And I'm like,
yeah, okay.
And so like it's obvious to everybody else that I'm uncomfortable. And so I feel like they sort of get that uncomfortable. Yeah, that's exactly what Mo was talking about. He's like, people will look at your face and you're like how they perceive you, and they're going to mirror that back at you.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that explains a lot.
Yeah, and not even just like the way that you're looking, but like the way that you feel. It's really the way that you feel, because the way that you express yourself is the way that you feel. And so if you feel uncomfortable, but you're pretending to be comfortable, people will still know that you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's better to just be like totally, that's really like the importance of becoming just totally relaxed is before you go up there. Because it helps, you know, it really helps with, just being able to receive the energy, and then mirror, and then also choose what you want to do. That's like a huge thing too, is that if there's like energy in you that's kind of possessing you to act a certain way, you don't have any ability to choose what you're putting out. But if you are relaxed, if you're really relaxed, you can evoke a certain spirit from yourself that will be mirrored by the crowd. So like if it's fun, like if you want to have like a fun time, you can just, if you're relaxed enough, you can bring that out within yourself, and then they'll mirror you.
Dude, that would be amazing if I got that, like not the comedy gene, but like the ability to just like put out what I wanted on stage, like to be able to like completely control my emotions. I don't know if that'd be my emotions, but like control how I'm feeling.
It has nothing to do with control. It's like, the control is like where it becomes like difficult. Because it's more of a letting go, and like understanding that it's just accepting the energy that's in the room, accepting it, and accepting how you're feeling too. And if you're feeling bad, just saying that and being like annoyed, because a lot of that too, like it's still art, so you can't like force anything to happen. So there is like this degree of choice where like, you know, maybe I want to have a fun time and everything, but it also sometimes is like, I just feel irritated, and it's being in tune with your emotions.
Yeah, because there's some deaf homeless guy that just so happens to be talking during the entire set.
Yeah.
Dude, it's kind of, whenever you describe it like that, it's like surfing kind of like, you can't control, absolutely. Like you might have the perfect idea for what a wave could do, but you can't make the wave, so you have to ride it.
Yeah, it's exactly like surfing.
Fuck, dude. That's the hard part, is like relinquishing control and being like, I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to control the situation, but I'm going to ride with it anyways.
Yeah. It's absolutely like that. I mean, like, in trying to control a situation is like trying to make a wave be different.
It's
like,
just not going to work.
It's silly. Yeah, it's just a silly thing to like think of. So it's better to just accept the wave for what it is, and then to just
ride it out.
And if it's a shitty wave, it's a shitty wave, and sometimes that just happens.
Dude, that's I have such a big issue. Like, Mo was trying to not even convince me, because I know like the open mics are practice, but like for me, I see practice as like whenever I'm standing here in my room, like with one of these mics unconnected and walking around, like saying my bit. Cause like whenever I'm on stage, like I want to make people laugh. And so it's like, it's not practice if I go on stage and then I do like eat shit. And then I am feeling those emotions, like of like, damn, I just let everybody down. No one laughed. They think I'm a dick. And
right.
Because like for me, like I played soccer, and it's like soccer practice. I go to practice. I'm fucking around with my teammates. No one's there to watch. Like, it's us trying to get better. Yeah. But with comedy, you can't get better by yourself, because you have to be able to like.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it comes from, because you can't get better by yourself because you have to learn how to not give a shit. And I think at this point, because you've been doing it like a really short amount of time, but like, after you do it a certain amount of times, like you just stop caring about what the outcome is. Genuinely, because you're conditioned emotionally to know that you'll have another, like, I'll go up again, and it just becomes kind of amusing at a certain point. And you also realize that, like, when people aren't laughing, it's not that they're like thinking that you're a piece of shit. They're just thinking about something that's better in their head. Because you're just not entertaining.
Yeah.
So it's just like they're thinking about like their dog or fuck, oh man, what do I have to do tomorrow? Like, so it's very rarely it's like judgment. It does happen, but I think like in very rare cases it's judgment.
Dude, like I fucking
because they'll mirror you, like, and people understand. Everyone has stage fright. Everyone has stage fright, and they all know what it feels. They all, on some deep ancestral level, know what it feels like to be in that position. So anyone that's like, oh, fucking jet, like they're, you know, it's like they're just it's so irrelevant.
Yeah. I forgot who it was that said it. I think it might have been like Whitney Cummings, but she was saying that like that stage fright thing comes from like back in our like tribal mind from whenever we were like not Native Americans, but I say them because they're tribal.
Historic, yeah.
Fucking, so like you didn't want to like be the one that was up on stage talking to people because usually that meant that like if you fucked up,
trouble.
Yeah, you might get killed or sent out.
It either meant that you were now the leader, or it meant that you were about to get fucked up, and you needed to say something that would make you not get fucked up. And all of our ancestors, because we're here, it meant that our ancestors said something that worked. And it got everyone off their back. Or it meant that they were in a leadership position and they actually like stewarded it appropriately.
So, like, even if they got it right, they were still, like, that fear would still be in them, like,
oh, yeah.
Dude, I could have just got killed. Why?
Because they would see other people go, how about this thing? And then everyone's like, bam, 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 just hits them with stones. And they're like, oh, shit.
Throws rocks at them until they're dead.
Yeah.
And then it's like, after.
All right, your turn. That was an open mic back then. That was what open mic was like watching someone get beat to death with rocks.
And then it's,
all right, you're up.
And you're literally like sitting on a pile of rocks.
Yeah, who's the leader now? You're playing who's the leader now? And it's...
Everyone's like voting. It's the opposite of president where you have like a few people that are going for it. It's like everyone's like, I do not want to be this.
Oh, yeah. And that's like the crazy thing about now is that there's so much power aggregated to being in a position like that where you are protected and like all this kind of stuff. And so people naturally want, and it's still super dangerous, but like people want that position a lot more now. Back in those days, like it was a horrible spot to be in because you had to make all the decisions. You had to, and if you did badly, they would just kill you. And not only that, but like even if you did a good job, there was ritualistic killing of kings that happened. So even if you did a good job, they'd be like, "All right, see you," and they'd kill you. Like, that's why we have 4-year president terms in America.
Why?
Because it's a ritualistic killing of the king, and so it keeps
you get a new guy.
Yeah, so you get a new guy, so it rejuvenates the system.
Dude, that'd be crazy. Like back in Egypt, they're like, this guy was the shit. And everyone's like, yeah, we fucking loved him. And they're like, all right, well, let's kill him and like make him into a mummy so we have him with us forever and we get his good fortune. Yeah. And like they might not have even meant anything bad by it, but they're like, no, we want you around forever. And like, if you get eaten by a fucking lion, we don't get to keep you. Right. Yeah, that's why they hid the bodies so much. And because like when they did have a good king, I don't know how long the terms were. I think it was like your whole life you were king. Mm-hmm. But that you know, that's part of the reason like why they protected the bodies so in the pyramids or whatever is because they wanted, like, if you have good things happen during a whole entire lifespan, you want to have I don't want that to go now that he's dead. Yeah. Dude, a lot of those pharaohs were like really messed up with like inbreeding and shit. Can you imagine having like an inbred? Because they're an inbred pharaoh. That's what it was. Make me a kitty cat. Dude, I have a bit about that where it's like royalty is fucking inbred. Dude, that's like I just like the idea how like the Sphinx on there's just like some inbred like pharaoh who's like, I want a kitty cat. And they're like, oh, all right, we just have to throw slave labor at it for thousands of years until it's done. Like, I guess we'll sacrifice hundreds of thousands of people. Dude, like that would be so with a man. Yeah, that'd be so scary because like. You don't want to say anything to piss them off, and like, well, they would kill people just for fun, like probably. That's part of the bit where it's like, oh yeah, if I was doing this shit comedy in front of a king, afterwards he'd cut my head off and roll it down the stairs, and probably laugh way harder at that because he's a big fan of physical comedy, and it's like, Yeah, that's what they would do, is like a jester would come in. And apparently, I'm just finding out recently from fucking Shane Gillis, which this could be completely not true. They're like, the jesters were just like retarded people that they would be like, it wasn't like a guy that made fun of the king.
Yeah.
It was like a retarded person that they'd be like, dance.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That might be a worse position, to be the jester that's like there with the king. Like anyone if you're in the medieval times.
Well, I feel like it would depend on who the king was, because like if the king was like a good king, he would probably not have. It would probably be like
His killing was probably low.
Well, it'd probably be like an actual jester that like does like traditionally what it was. But I'm sure there's kings out there that were like, yeah, this guy's like funny, but let's get him out. Let's get that guy right there.
Let's get that guy with flippers for feet.
Yeah, let's get that guy who's he's like all he eats is peanut butter jelly sandwiches. We'll just have him put the thing on.
Dude, we'll fill his mouth with peanut butter and have him sing.
Yeah, dude, I'm sure there's like tons of stuff like that was happening, and people would be forced to do it. Now it's kind of funny because like people just volunteer the role.
Yeah, they're
like on TikTok, they're like just fill their mouth with peanut butter, just to, it's steaks, or like the cracker challenge or whatever it was called. I can't, saltine challenge.
Dude,
yeah,
fucking, it is kind of a crazy thing to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy, because it's like not just like a lot of people are funny in their personal lives, but whenever you're like willing to go up on stage, you're like, I'm not just like a funny person conversationally. I'm so funny that I can go up in front of this crowd of individuals, because it's not just one crowd. It's like a bunch of different people with different senses of humor, and I can construct something that is so funny that it reaches everybody, and it's going to make them laugh. And it's like, oh, that's definitely some confidence there.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like a bunch of stuff that there's just a lot going on with that. I mean, people could say that it's like due to trauma, or it's due to some sort of like, imbalance or grandiosity or whatever, or maybe you like need external self-esteem, right? But then we go even deeper than that. Then it's like the ancestral thing. Like maybe there was something where like a great, super far away ancestor saw someone get rock bashed in their face because they said a bad joke, and then they're like, okay, well maybe I'm
gonna have a good one.
I kind of want to. I'm gonna have a good one, but then they never do it, and then like thousands of years later, there's like their great grandson or whatever is like, oh yeah, okay. Actually, I just have this weird feeling that I should do stand up.
It's like a burning desire inside of them, because like it's been suppressed so long inside of your like gene pool that like whenever you get to a certain point, it's just like it has to be let out.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's also like environmentally too. Like I feel like if we were in a different culture, if I were in a different culture, I probably wouldn't be doing stand up. Like, if we're
in the Middle East, I wouldn't be telling any of my jokes.
Yeah, yeah. We're not even telling like jokes, just like you'd be fulfilled. You'd be fulfilled, and you wouldn't need to like have this crazy narcissistic art form that.
You think so? Like if we were in China, that it wouldn't. Do you think that the people there? Do you think they might also be suppressing it, or do you think that they really are so like self-fulfilled that they don't feel the need for it?
They have just as many problems as we do, but it's just channeled in different ways. I mean, yeah, it's difficult to say, but like I think that if people have do you remember that scene in Midsummer when she's they're in the cult, and then she's like, she finds out her boyfriend's like cheated on her or whatever, and then she's like, have you seen that movie?
I was gonna say I haven't seen that one.
I'm just spoiling it for you.
I don't give a fuck. I love spoilers.
Okay, so it's a great movie, but so they go to this like, cult in Sweden, and she finds out that she like walks in on her boyfriend like fucking someone else, but like it's totally like due to this cult or whatever. But she's like just letting out so much. She's like a super traumatized person like the whole entire thing, and she's like totally going through like crying, and then all these women from the cult like are with her, and they're all like mirroring her with what she's going through, and it's like this. It's like this. So really
she's devastated, and everybody else is like, we're going to be devastated too.
Yeah, but they're like doing it with her. They're like literally mirroring exactly how she's crying, and then she gets mad. She starts yelling, and everyone's mirroring her yelling. It's like it is one of the best scenes in any movie that I've ever seen. But I was thinking to myself, like, well, in regards to this conversation, we're like, I think if people had more of a like solid community like that, we wouldn't need to do any of this shit. But because of the current like cultural and socioeconomic situation, this is kind of like a byproduct of it, because every single part of like the king's court is being industrialized in some way, and the jester one is through comedy, but now it's this whole industry.
God damn, dude, that's fucking crazy. Changing topics a little bit. Do you remember that movie Mandy that you showed me?
Oh yeah,
dude, we had a whole episode where I was just ranting about how little sense it made and how much I hate Nick Cage.
Oh really? Yeah,
dude. Like,
that's how you feel about it.
I will probably watch that movie like 4 more times, but oh my god,
yeah.
Like, I'm so glad I watched that.
Yeah.
Like, that was a crazy experience. Mo said he watched that on mushrooms.
Yeah,
that shit would have freaked me out, dude.
Yeah.
Like, do you fully understand that movie?
I mean, it's not
meant to be fully understand?
I don't know. I've never really tried to read too far into it. I just enjoyed
Watch it for the entertainment.
Yeah, it's just entertaining, and it's
like the chainsaw fight.
It's so emotional. It's not like a super intellectual movie. It's just a really emotional movie because it's about a guy who loves his girlfriend, and then she gets killed, and then he freaks out. But it's very emotional. It's just a very emotional movie, and it's very like based in love, like that, and like what that numinous. It's numinous. It's like a numinous movie. It's divine. It's extreme.
The part that bothered me, like, this is dumb, but like whenever they burned his girl alive, and like afterwards, like there was nothing but the skull, like kind of in ashes, and like whenever he picked it up, it fell apart in ashes.
Yeah.
And like the part that bothered me there is that your femurs don't burn. Like if you burn the body, and I was like, but there's no femurs there. That makes no sense. And like, if the skull was like,
just thinking about it super literally.
Yeah, and it was like, also the dude was holding her up by a rope, and if they were burning the body, eventually the rope would have caught and snapped. And I was just like, dude, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parts like that, because I'm a dickhead when I watch movies. I'm super critical.
Like nitpicking every like technical thing.
Dude, but it was so...
Can you imagine like if they made a movie that was really, the storyline was just fucking horrible, they nailed every technical thing that went along with it.
And then I'm just sitting there like, dude, hear me out. That's a good movie. And you're like, no, that was fucking awful. There was nothing entertaining. I'm like, but the femur was there when it got burned.
Right, yeah.
Another part that bothered me was... this part bothered me a lot. You remember when Nick Cage went downstairs with the axe and the guy was making the acid? And like there was I think it was a lion or a tiger in the cage?
Yeah.
And he's like, and pressed the button and let the tiger out?
Yeah.
You never saw the tiger again.
I know. I was like trying to figure that out because I've watched that movie a few times, and I don't understand how much of it is supposed to be like interpreted as a dream and how much of it is supposed to be just like looked at as a story. Because the tiger thing, you remember in like the beginning of the movie where he has a shirt that has a tiger on it. Mm-hmm. It's just a shirt. It's Mandy's shirt, and then he says like, "You ripped my shirt" to the guy who's like fighting for the first time, and then after that he takes the huge amount of acid. But then later in the movie, when he walks into the guy who's making the acid,
that guy's also on acid because his hands were in the liquid.
Yeah. So when he gets in there, there's a tiger in a cage, which is like sort of symbolic, because then it's saying that the tiger is like the guy that the acid maker lets the tiger out of the cage, and in the same way, when Nicolas Cage drank the potion or whatever, the LSD potion, he totally like went off the rails.
Is that what that was? The LSD?
I think so. Oh yeah. The big jar of shit. Yeah,
dude. I thought it was like
it's just a lot of information. Like I had to watch it several times to like get all this shit.
Like the Four Horsemen, I think I assume that was like the allegory that they were making. See, I just used the word allegory, and I have no fucking clue what that means.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't know. I think it's like it's an alligator or something.
But whenever they had like that goop shit that he drank, and then he started speaking English, I thought it was like
there's this Bolshevik that they're just speaking Russian the whole entire time, and then he just takes the acid and starts speaking English.
Dude, that's probably what it is. Like if you just have to drink the liquor of whoever it is. Like if we got drunk enough on vodka, we'd probably start speaking in Russian.
I mean, I've done that before, but I'm not like speaking the...
You just fucking...
Yeah, that's fun though, to like just try to speak languages that aren't...
that you have no clue.
You have no clue what they are.
You get drunk as fuck on tequila and you just...
I mean, do you remember that whole South Park bit that they did where it was the guy, like the Chinese radio host, like pretending to be American? They're like, oh, a cheeseburger. My credit card.
No.
It's just awesome. But I don't know. I like it. It's great to see, like, that's why I kind of wanted to spend more time in hostels, because like in like New Year's 2021, I hung out at this hostel for a few days.
In Europe or here?
No, at Tahoe. And we met people from like all over the world, and everyone was just like having this, like, we're having like really interesting conversations about just like culture and like, but then also making fun of each other for just like like doing accents and all this stuff. And it was so much fun, dude. It was, and then, they were doing, I can't remember what game it was, where you put like the thing on your forehead and then you like impression.
Yeah.
What it is.
And like you have to get, wait, is it the impression one, or is it the one where like everyone's trying to give you clues and you try to guess?
Yes, it's that one.
Yeah.
But we were doing like nationalities, and so people were like and then Russian. But it was great.
That sounded really fucking good.
It was great.
Like actual Russian. Was that actual words, or were you just doing?
No, I'm just fucking around.
Just fucking making noises. Dude, that's it's always interesting to see how cultures come together, because like I said in my first college, it was like people from everywhere, and like it was so cool because everyone was so much different. Like just like how we were raised.
Where'd you go to college?
It's called Thomas University. It was in
Georgia?
Yeah, it was a little dog shit city called Thomasville. Like the middle of fucking nowhere. And like I was
a ton of different people.
Yeah, I was blown away. I was like, I'm thinking it's gonna be a bunch of hicks, and there was like, the thing was like in the freshman dorms there was like 60 people, and I think 58 of us were athletes, and like in most of my classes, like it'd be like at most like 40 people in one class, and like that was the biggest one in like the entire campus. But it'd be like maybe one or two people that weren't athletes. So like everyone's from everywhere.
Wow.
And like you just see how everyone is like raised and shit. And you see that English people are filthy and horrible at math. And like Swedish people are different in their ways. And Italian people like actually like to cook and shit. And like that shit is weird, because like if you had to go be a spy somewhere, you would get caught instantly. Because like it'd be something so simple as...
I would, yeah.
Have you seen... I mean, either of us. Have you seen Inglourious Bastards?
No. Oh, yeah, I did a long time ago.
So, like, there's a scene in there. That's a movie about, like, a bunch of Jewish people going to kill Nazis in Nazi Germany. And, like, they're trying to sneak around as spies. Mm-hmm. And there's one scene where they're down in a bar. And, like, there's an English guy there. And there's, like, three Americans. That. So, like, they're downstairs. And they're ordering... Like, the guy... One of the actual, like, Nazi SS guys is, like, down there, like, not interrogating them. But, like, he's very suspicious of them. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, let's get some alcohol. And he's like, yeah, let's get 3 cups of... whatever the fuck they were getting at, scotch or something. And the guy was like, didn't say anything. And later on, like, he realized he had a gun on his dick. Oh, and they both had guns on each other's dick. And he was like, yeah, that's not how you order it. This is how you order it, like, with the 3 in Germany.
Yeah, it's like a tiny detail.
Yeah, and like in East Asia, the way they squat is like on their heels. So like, if I'm gonna squat,
you're on your toes.
Yeah, you're on the balls of your feet. Yeah. Like over in fucking Russia and like Japan and China, they're like on their heels. And like there's a lot of I work for Panasonic, specifically the battery company with Tesla, and it's like a Japanese company. And so they send their Japanese TAs over, and it's super interesting to see them like when they're smoking their cigarettes out in the parking lot. They're like all like...
Well, I feel like that movie was like, I mean, that was back in the 40s though, where you wouldn't have a complete and total understanding of the cultural nuances, where I feel like now
we probably understand
we would understand every single little detail that would go into it.
But like, I wonder what the thing would be for like America that like might give someone away. Cause like, I guess we wouldn't know
just
because
saying like all the time.
No, saying like all the time gets you in there.
Oh, you means giving you away. Oh,
yeah. So like something that would like if someone did like if it the other issue,
depend on like what the culture that someone was coming from.
I was gonna say it's also interesting because like if I went to China, they'd be like, that's not a Chinese person, and
really.
Maybe they'd be confused. Yeah. But most of them would be like, that's not a Chinese dude. But like here, we do have like American Chinese people. So like I don't know if I'd be able to tell the difference between like an American Chinese person and a Chinese person. If they spoke clear English, like I wouldn't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like people, like if Africans came over here, most of them, I think I'd be able to tell because Africans are not like the same as black Americans at all. And that's like one of the things that bothers me is like black dudes, like all black people in America are like, oh yeah, like our brothers in Africa. And it's like, my nigga, do you not know what like any history? Those are not our niggas. Those are the people that were like, you're not cool here. Go over there and sold us off into slavery.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I suppose there's like a whole, I didn't even think about that. Like there's people in Africa that are like, take these people. We don't, like totally taking advantage of it. Yeah.
Because it'd be like two tribes are warring. You have a bunch of prisoners of war, but you can't afford to feed them. And like these white dudes show up and they're like, how do you like this rum? You try it. It's amazing. And they're like, well, I'll trade you this rum for that dude right there.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, fuck yeah, I don't want this nigga anyways. Yeah. Take him. And like, that was everybody. They're just like, here, take these people. And then they started realizing like, oh, dude, these people are like worth a lot. Let's go capture them and like sell them off.
Yeah.
Another crazy thing is like pirates. Like my entire idea of pirates came from like
Pirates of the Caribbean
and Tom and Jerry fucking the pirate shit. It's like my dumbass thought that parrots could actually talk and like they knew what they were saying.
The captain with the
So like I was like, I thought they were like cool and like fucking around.
Yeah.
No, there's one specific pirate that like would go to Africa a bunch and he'd invite like a whole tribe of Africans on a ship to trade, and then he would just be like, now it's mine. Like I own all of you.
Yeah.
That would be so ass. Cause like they don't even notice, like they bring them over on like a rowboat onto their giant ship.
Yeah.
And like someone just cuts the rope to the rowboat.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, would you look at that?
Fuck.
There's no way to get back.
Yeah. That would have been so insane to have to, like any kind of old, like being a pirate would be like the worst life ever.
Dude, your like source of fresh water is very low. And like if one person is stupid, they could fuck you up.
And you have to listen to a guy who has a parrot on his goddamn shoulder. Like, can you imagine anything more humiliating than having to listen? He's like, and then he doesn't even have two legs, and he's got a parrot on his shoulder, and you have to listen. You have to do what he says. Captain? Yeah, you have to do what he says,
dude. And if he doesn't like you, he can literally just like walk the plank. Like when I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, walk the plank, whatever. You're in the ocean now and you're dead. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I never really thought about that before, but like they could just throw you overboard. And like, also another weird thing I was thinking of is like this morning I woke up at like fucking 5 a.m. and I was up watching videos of like giant boats and like rogue waves for like an hour. And like imagining Vikings like
coming up against like a rowboat. Oh yeah. That's like, I feel like that's where a lot of the weird superstition, I can't imagine how religious they would be in those situations, you know, or how religious pirates must be.
Yeah.
If they have to deal with that kind of stuff.
Because they're like, God had, like, there's no way you think, like, yeah, we got ourselves out of that.
Or, like, protecting, like, please protect me. Please have some things that save me.
Dude, like, I'm an atheist, but, like, if my life gets threatened, I'm going to pray out to one of the gods.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm going to be a pussy. I'm going to be like, God, help me.
Yeah, totally. That's interesting because, like, that's, like, a common phenomenon is that, like, people, like, when they're put in a super survival situation, then they just are.
Because it's like, I can't protect myself. Yeah. I need something to protect me, and like other people believe that power like protects them, and like, hey, I might not believe it, but I'm gonna for sure give it a fucking try.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like whenever I die, even like if I'm like on my deathbed, hopefully I don't just get nailed by a car or something and die quick. You wouldn't
want that? I'd be fine with that. I mean, like obviously, yes, the deathbed thing would be cool, but not like the uncomfortable.
Well, it wouldn't be cool at all. It would suck. But like if I was on my deathbed,
shitting yourself to death,
I would be like, well, all right, I'm going to take a gamble. Christian God, I believe in you now. Like, take me to heaven with you.
Do you think that's what you would do, though? Is that, like, you just pick one?
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know enough about, well, I do. One thing I know about Islam is that was created by, like, a warlord. And so, like, I assume that's not the right one.
Khaled.
Just fucking
it's created by the warlord DJ Khaled.
Skinny DJ Khaled riding around on a camel slaughtering people.
That just came out. He's like the new L. Ron Hubbard. He just created Islam.
We the best.
Yeah, he does look like the guy that would have like created Islam, like like it is the album covers or whatever.
Dude, that's their thing. Instead of Allahu Akbar before they blow themselves up, they're like, we the best music. Dude,
Yeah.
Every time you hear that, anybody that looks like DJ Khaled, that'd be horrifying.
Yeah, that people are like discriminating people that look like DJ Khaled.
Dude, okay, so let's knock these out. Muslims, I don't fucking think they're right. Jewish people, they're the beginning part of Christianity, so it's like they're the Old Testament. The Christians are like the New Testament because that's all the Jesus part.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. So if there's two separate religions that are for Old Testament, then I'm gonna say that one has the most validity to me. Not that it's like valid, but it's like that is
like
the most
closer to the root.
Yeah. But then Muslims also acknowledge that Jesus was a person and like he was a smart guy. Mm-hmm. They don't think he's the son of God or anything. Yeah. But it's like, all right, so that's like those three are kind of connected together because even the Muslims say that they worship the same God as the Jewish people and Christians. So it's like those are the three I'd look at.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be too convinced by Pastafarianism.
Well, that's Well, I think Pastafarianism, isn't it? Like it's like a satire religion, right?
Is it?
Yeah,
I would hope so. I saw a thing that said that it like the practitioners.
I think it's like the pork pie hat atheist, like 2011 neckbeard people were trying to make a joke about religion.
Dude, I'm a Pastafarian.
Pastafarian, yeah.
Giant spaghetti, flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah, they're like making fun of God or something.
Dude, that's so funny because I thought that it was a real thing because my friend Bryson in middle school was like, yeah, Pastafarianism. It used to be practiced by pirates, but now it's just midgets and people from some random country. I was like, nice, that's sick.
Yeah, I think so you like believed your friend when he said that midgets had a god?
No, all midgets, but like I was like, most midgets probably believe that. I don't fucking know. Like midgets they're different. Like they're their own subrace of human. Like midgets, I don't know. Like whenever I saw the Wolf of Wall Street and they were using him as lawn darts, that just inspired me.
Yeah.
Like if I got rich enough, dude, I'd definitely have a couple pet midgets.
Really?
That's what every YouTube influencer does. They're like,
God, dude, I want to like fast forward 20 years from now and just see you in like a really committed relationship with a midget.
I was going to say, you fast forward 20 years from now and see me in a mental institution talking about why I want my pet midget.
Yeah.
Dude, but like all YouTube influencers, like fucking Logan Paul, Danny Duncan, all two of them that I just named.
Can you imagine like after that movie came out, like that probably happened a lot after that movie came out. There was like super rich guys like that who were just like,
dude, I never even thought about that.
Oh man, such a good idea.
Dude, you're just like quaaludes and fucking throwing midgets. That's the best. How many times do you think people actually get like inspired by movies to do shit in real life?
All the time. That's what movies are for.
That's true. People are dumb. Like
that's what movies are for. They are literally for that. They are literally for inspiring you to act a certain way in your life.
Dude, like when I was a kid, like I watched Kung Fu Panda, and like I walked out of that movie theater thinking I had the power of Kung Fu.
That's awesome.
Dude, I was like, I'm gonna fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
And then like
I'm gonna fucking beat up my dog when I get home.
Dude, beating dogs just stopped being cool at like the same time as beating children.
Was beating dogs ever cool?
Yeah, dude, like back in the 70s.
Yeah,
like,
back in the 70s. Yeah, you'd kick it. I feel like it wasn't beating dogs. It was just like kicking them in the ass and be like, get out of here.
Dude, like fucking one of my favorite podcasts, the dude Matt talks about fucking like how his dad used to like get home from work like pissed and like actually like kick his dog in like the stomach.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and he was like, he'd be like, the dog can't be in the kitchen. And like, he was like, in my mind, I was just like, dog shouldn't have been in the kitchen. And it's like,
yeah.
That's such a crazy change in like society that like now we're like, if you saw someone do that, you'd be like,
baby.
You'd be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, totally.
I wonder what that's going to be in like 30 years where we look back now and we're like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well, I think we're going to do that to each other. It's going to be the same thing to each other. We're treating each other terribly over the internet and everything now. And I think that we're going to look back and we're going to have a much better understanding. If everything goes well, we're going to have a much better understanding of just the human condition so that we see each other, like doxing each other and being like, oh my God, that's not okay. Like, dude, what the fuck are we doing, dude?
That's so true. Cause like even me, like I feel so much more comfortable being a piece of shit to people online. Like I get on Twitter, dude, and like, I don't know what it is about it. Like, I don't like this about myself, but it's a thing where like I'll see someone say something like that I disagree with, and like I'm automatically like willing to go to like the highest level of arguing with them, where I'm like, you're a piece of shit. Like I don't fucking like you.
Well, Yeah, you're getting sucked into the spirit, because like anytime that you're on a social media platform, if you are experiencing a certain level of like emotional intensity from somewhere, then you'll just mirror that. You're just mirroring it, and so you're just getting controlled by the mirroring phenomenon.
Dude, and I'm over here thinking, oh yeah, I'm such a free thinker telling people they're pieces of shit, but I'm literally just a droid that's there fucking like encouraging the hate.
Yeah.
And like that's like I always wondered like why I see so much shit I hate on like Twitter and Instagram, but like it's literally meant for that. Like
it's,
Facebook,
well, and it's
engineered.
It's you too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like and like I have Twitter and I see stuff on Twitter. Like I see stuff that, you know, it's like it doesn't, I mean, it's like maybe it's supposed to bother me or something, but mostly I just engage with stuff that is like I just think is like kind of funny, and but that's what it feeds back to, because they just give you what you want.
Exactly. And like you don't engage, well, specifically like most people, but specifically me, I don't really engage with something I like. I'll like it, but like if I see something that pisses me off, I'm gonna be in the comments for like a long time arguing with people. So then it sees, oh, this is what this guy likes, because he might not have liked the post. He loves to argue, so let's throw shit in front
more.
of
Feed him more. What about this one? This piss you off?
What do you think about this? And dude, and I'm just like, yeah, that pisses me off.
Yeah.
And they're like,
and yeah, isn't it funny to like imagine someone over a fucking phone that's this big, and it's just like they're just fucking like angry at it, like I'm just
like actually furious, like in an argument with someone that I've never met, never will meet, and means nothing. And then the best part is now it might not even be a somebody. It might literally be like a bot that's made to piss me off.
Yeah.
Or like the Internet Research Agency over in Russia. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
So they, like during the 2016 election, you remember how like Hillary Clinton said that like Donald Trump.
I don't know what it is, but I'm imagining it's like you know, with like phone operators, they have like the things that like slide into the fucking just some old 1970s technology that they're using for.
Dude, no, they were pretty good.
Yeah. Like,
you know how the 2016 election, they're like, oh yeah, Russian people were interfering and like stole the election.
Oh, right.
So like what they were interfering, but like it wasn't like they wanted one side to win. They just wanted to sow discontent between everybody. So they studied like American like memes and politics, and they were dropping the most hilarious memes ever, like at Hillary or at Trump.
Oh wow.
And like so like
just trying to like piss chaos.
Everyone off.
Yeah.
So they'd get dumbasses like me to go in there and fucking be like, this is fucking stupid.
Oh wow. So that's kind of funny. So there's like a guy in Russia that like typed some code, or it was like making a meme.
No, like he knew what he was doing.
You mad.
And it was working.
Yeah, totally.
Very effective. And it was working on everybody.
Yeah, same, for me too.
Because like you wouldn't even know who they were until finally like you could look at some, I forgot what it was, but like you could see where some people were from, that like if they were a bot, and it was like, holy shit, that's a lot more bots than we thought. Yeah. Like whenever Elon bought Twitter, and like he was like, this seems like there's like fucking 80% bots.
Yeah.
It's because like mainly was. Or like not even bots. It was like,
that's crazy. That's crazy that like we live in we're at a time now where it's not like overt war. It's just introducing a like an autoimmune disorder to a whole entire country.
Dude, we're like white blood cells, like attacking each other and like eating ourselves up. It's literally like, well, I don't know how cancer works, but in my mind, it's like you have a bad cancer cell that starts recreating itself. And then like you start to attack that, like your white blood cells attack it, but then it also attacks other shit.
Well, that's kind of like what, I was like, comparing biology to the whole social system, cause it's super similar. Cause like, yeah, cancer, it's really similar to like ideology, like, super, strict belief systems where people think that they're threatened if people don't think the same thing as them. And that is a cancer.
It's like a mind parasite cancer.
Yeah. Because it does cause people to kill each other. Like in other like less, you know, if I guess less or more intense situations.
That was I talked about this last week, but I don't give a fuck. The Kansas-Nebraska Act. So like whenever we were a young country and like before the Civil War had happened, like the South had slave states and like the North had free states, and like it wasn't just the divide between like we want to have slaves and we want to be like have no slaves. It was like literally a power structure. You want to click? Oh, I was gonna say you can click the buttons and we have some fucking nice sounds lit it up. But
what? How cool! You got a pube on here too.
Yeah, I know. No, that's just my disgusting hair. All of them look like pubes. Which one did you click?
I don't know, this one.
Click a different one. Not funny.
Okay.
Yeah, but God damn it. Oh yeah. Yeah, that one.
Okay, I'm gonna use this now.
You're the soundboard operator.
Yeah, go on.
So, like in Kansas, Nebraska, or back then, they had like slave states versus free states, but they weren't just like they weren't just like arguing over if they wanted slaves or not. It was literally like an economic thing where like if there was a certain amount of, I'm just waiting for you to click one of them. Click the red one.
You were eating this girl? You were eating this girl?
What? What does that say?
You were eating this girl?
You were eating her?
You were heming this girl.
What does that mean?
I didn't know either. My friend Grant, he's from
You didn't know what it is?
No, I do now.
Soundboard?
I do now, but like my friend Grant, I had never heard that before. And when he was on here, he was like, we were talking about this girl, Louisa, and Jake my co-host was fucking her, and he was like bringing her. he was bringing up the story about her, and then Grant was like, "You were heming this girl," and I was like, "What the fuck did you just say?" And he's like, "You were heming this."
I was just trying out a new.
No, like that's apparently a thing that they've always been doing that I just never fucking heard.
Saying the word He-Man?
It means fucking, I guess.
He-Man.
Heman. Like
He-Man?
Heeming. Heeming.
All right.
Dumb Stockton lingo, I know.
Oh, okay.
One day I was over at their house. Not funny. Dude, that one is a useful one. But one day I was over at their house and I was like fucking hungover as shit, throwing up in their toilet, passed out on the floor. And they're like, "You were cacked last night." And I was like, oh, that's an interesting one I haven't heard. And then like one of my friends, Truex, was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go cack." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you drink that much. Are you gonna go throw up?" He's like, "No, bro, that means sleep." And I was like, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, there was like a beef between slave and free states, because they're like, if we get like one more free state than slave state, they want us to run our economy like them. So like the South is doing our agriculture, the North is doing like actual industry and shit.
Yeah.
And like they're like, if they get one more slave state, they're gonna make it to where everyone can have slaves, and our way of life is gonna be fucked. So like whenever we were discovering Kansas and Nebraska, like the Senate literally could not decide whether those were going to be slave or free states. And like,
they're just too shitty to make a decision on.
Dude, like literally senators were beating each other up like with canes on the Senate floor. But so they were like, we can't decide. They can do popular sovereignty, so they get to decide themselves.
Yeah.
And so like what happened is like a fuck ton of people moved to there and were killing each other, like actually murdering each other.
You were eating this girl?
Oh, fuck. There we go.
And they're like, dude, this is like the most we've used the soundboard forever. This feels good. Now it's actually worth it.
I have to like memorize because I keep fucking up like which ones
I used to have them written down, but then I cleaned that thing off with a bleach whip. That's the one empty one. Fucking.
Oh, I see.
No.
Okay, so that and this are the same thing. That, I don't know. Okay. Okay, so like these three buttons are basically the same
Not
thing.
funny. Yeah.
Okay.
Cricket's not funny, and
You were eating
Okay.
applause and clapter.
Okay.
But fuck, niggas were killing each other, and like it was just over like deciding what the fuck they were gonna do. And like there was like some of the first serial killers of America were over there doing it then, and like people were like, yeah, like fuck yeah, because they're on our side. Like one specific dude, John Brown, was like an insane. He's like one of the dudes that actually started the Civil War, because like he was so anti-slavery that like he was just killing everybody, and like he would go down to the South and like try and collect a fuck ton of
Killing
guns.
black people. He's
No.
I don't like slavery.
He's like
so kill happy. He's just fucking killing. All right, this guy's serious, I guess.
he's like, I don't want them to be slaves. I want them dead.
Yeah.
No, but he was killing white dudes, and like he would show up, like go to random cities in Kansas, and like he'd be like, I'm here as an abolitionist, and you should give me all your guns, like to abolitionist cities. And he would get like a wagon full of guns, and then like get an army and like go fucking start fighting them.
No.
Like, I feel like we were just like one atomic bomb, well, maybe not one, but like a few nukes from sending us back, like societally, to where we're back to like normalizing killing each other.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, any kind of time that there's like some sort of huge destabilizing thing, it just causes chaos. I mean, I feel like after the whole pandemic situation, people just have realized how important it is to just like chill.
I don't know, dude. I feel like it's ramped up a little bit more now.
Really?
Like the not chill.
Well, maybe it's because like I just am on a different side of Twitter than you are.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm on the fucking dumbass arguing side.
Yeah, because you're on the super arguing side. I forget that exists because I'm just like not tuned into that at all. And really, I don't go on Twitter that much. I just like write stupid shit on there. So, but
you're like, I'm gonna put my shit out there, and then you guys can do what you want with it.
Yeah, I'll like look up what my friends are posting, but I don't. I don't know. I don't use it a ton. Dude, after that, all that stuff happened in like the late 2010s. I just stopped using social media a lot. Like I would use it for comedy, which has honestly been nice since I haven't been as plugged in to do comedy in Denver. I've just been like really enjoying not being on social media that much.
Dude, I was gonna say you have to like post your shows and shit, but you literally never have to get on it now if you want to. If you don't want to.
Do what if I don't have to get on it?
Like you don't have to get on social media. Like if when you're doing comedy and shit, like you said, you have to plug shows and like you have to see when shit is happening. Mm-hmm. Like you kind of also want to see what other comedians are doing. But then if you could just completely unplug, like not wanting to be on there, that'd be so nice. But like I like it. Like I like being on there, and like honestly, Twitter isn't as bad for me as it used to be, because like in high school it was horrible. Like during the 2016 election and shit, it was the worst. But I deleted Twitter and started it again, and now most of my shit is like fight videos and like videos of people killing each other.
Stress,
dude. Yeah, well, it's not stress for me. I love fight videos. Yeah, like just the other day I watched the video of this black dude. He was beating the shit out of some white kid. A cop came with a bike, like slid on the ground with the bike, and another black dude came and stole his bike. And I was like, nice, fucking dumbass cop.
Yeah.
But it's definitely strange how you can curate your shit to be whatever you want it to be, and then still most people end up with a social media that they don't like.
Yeah. Well, there's something about it where because it's like picking a scab. You know, it's just like this psychological scab that they're offering for you to pick every day. It's really fucked up.
And it's like, I know it's not good to pick the scab, but like,
right,
I am still going to pick it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think also there's something about just like minor irritation and pain that allows us to grow. And so there is some sort of growth element to it. But the spectrum of like what's destructive and what's not destructive is widened because it's so amplified. And so people will go down this horrible destructive rabbit hole, and then people will be so, irritated enough to do something about it.
Dude, like the QAnon guys. Dude, QAnon.
Yeah, that's
is
a whole nother. I like how you
insane.
brought that up, because that's like a total curveball to what I just said.
No, like there's the destructive versions of social media where you could go down you could grow from like the annoying parts of social media, but like you can also not grow because you see some shit that you're like, oh, this is pretty interesting. Yeah. And then you fucking just get these insane ideas that you don't get checked at all. And then you end up going to the Capitol because you're like, hey, what, guys can't go to the fucking Capitol? Yeah. And then, I don't know.
It's, I don't know, the whole, people just like, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Hell yeah. You trying to smoke? End the podcast and smoke a little bit and go eat?
I'm probably not going to smoke. Yeah.
You trying to end the podcast, watch me smoke, and then go get something to eat?
Yeah, sure.
Bet.